Hello everybody, welcome back. I wanted to start off by quickly talking about a couple supplies that I'll be using. So I wanted to find a waterproof fountain pen ink, which is pretty hard because generally they tend to clog the fountain pen up, but I did find this Noodler's black waterproof fountain pen ink. It's a big 3-ounce bottle I just got on Amazon, and I'm putting it into this fountain pen that I got for super cheap at Stationery Pal. And so far it's been working really well. So the prompt for day 2 was Wisp, and I kind of wanted to include multiple wispy aspects of this illustration. So I did wispy feathers, wispy smoke coming from the incense, and then also little wisps of curly hair. I had a lot of fun drawing this one. I thought it turned out pretty cute, the sketch, but it did take me like 2 or 3 different drafts of this sketch. Originally, I had the character sitting in a different position, and I didn't really like how it turned out, so I redrew it, I printed it out, I traced it onto paper with pencil, and then I took a picture of it, and then I tweaked it in Procreate, so it was kind of this like back and forth, but it ended up turning out pretty good. I did the line art for the face and the body first in the fine liner because, like I said before, I just feel like I have a little bit more control and the line is pretty fine. But then I started going in with a fountain pen and was kind of practicing, applying different pressure and being able to produce thicker and more varied lines. And I was really liking how it was turning out and enjoying working with it. So for the ink washes for this one, I used Higgins Black Magic ink, and I am a little suspicious that the green brush that I used for the wash for the armchair had some purple ink in it from a couple of days before when I was testing out different inks, because for some reason the wash turned out with like the slightest hue of purple. It didn't really make that big of a difference, but it was just funny. When I set the brush down on the paper towel, I saw some purple and I was like, oh, that's why. So then when I went to do the wash for the leggings, I wanted it to be pretty dark, so it was a lot more ink than the first wash. And because of this, it didn't come out as like one smooth wash, because since there was more ink in it, it was more staining and it came out kind of blotchy. But when I went over it with a second layer, that kind of evened it out a little bit. I guess it makes sense that a wash with more water would be able to be less blotchy, whereas with the more permanent waterproof ink, it would kind of stain the paper more quickly. I was a little nervous to draw the smoke because I knew there was a potential that I could ruin the illustration because I was just going to paint right over everything, but I just went in with a light layer and kept building it up a little bit with just some shadows, and then ended up doing some little highlights with a white gel pen. So day 3, the prompt was bulky, and I had the idea to do like a big bulky puffer jacket. So when I first drew the sketch, I actually had a female character wearing the jacket, And one day I was just kind of mindlessly sketching faces, and I drew a guy, and I really liked how the face turned out, so I just combined it with the sketch that I had already done of the puffer jacket. And then it was just kind of simple, which is fine, but I wanted to add one or two little things to make it more interesting, so I ended up having little like plants and flowers kind of popping out of the hood, which I thought was like a pretty subtle but pretty cute little detail to add some interest. One thing I'm definitely noticing about illustrating in ink this year compared to last year is that I have a little bit more confidence going in with the ink, so I didn't even bother sketching out the flowers but with pencil beforehand because I thought it would be kind of tedious to redraw them again and again. So I just went in with the ink straight away and kind of just improvised drawing those flowers, and then again improvised drawing some like subtle stripes on his sweatshirt that he's wearing, which I thought added a little bit more interest as well. For this day, I was using the Noodler's ink in the fountain pen, but then also for the washes as well. I kind of wanted to see how it worked in a wash. And I think for the jacket, it was a little bit patchy, but not super bad. But when I went in and I just dipped straight into the bottle with my brush and tried to do just all black background, I realized it wasn't completely black. And I even purposefully went in with a dry brush so that there wouldn't be any water and it would just be 100% ink. But you can see that it's not going to be the same effect as, like, in the past I used a lot of Winsor & Newton Indian ink, and that when you just paint it straight out of the bottle, it's literally just pure black and there's not going to be any splotches or anything. So I probably won't use this ink for pure ink washes in the future, but in the end it didn't really make too big of a difference with this illustration, and I like how it turned out. And I'm glad I drew a boy, because I'm always drawing girls and it's nice to switch it up. All right, the prompt for day 4 was radio. And this was the first day that I didn't have a sketch prepared already. I was a little nervous, but also last year I did all my sketches for Inktober the day of. And I actually work pretty well under pressure. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, I swear my best essays for school were written the morning that they were due. But I had tried a lot of times last month to think of a sketch for this prompt. I drew out like probably 6 different ideas, and the only thing I really knew was that I wanted to draw some cute vintage looking radios, but that also meant that I would have to have some kind of a background happening with perspective that actually makes sense, and that's just not really my strong suit or even something I'm necessarily interested in drawing. It's just one of those things I want to be good at but don't actually practice. So in the morning I spent probably a couple hours doing this sketch, and I did it in Procreate. And when I originally printed it out, all the posters in the drawing were blank because I just figured I would fill them in as I go and just kind of figure it out. So the process for this whole drawing ended up being a little bit different than what I'm used to. Most of the time when I'm making any kind of drawing or painting, I like to have as much as the sketch done as possible, because I find when I make decisions on the fly, like just add something without planning it, more often than not, I end up not liking it. But that's something I'm trying to let go of because I just want to trust the process a little bit more. And in the end, I went in with like a pretty basic theme of music-related decor in the background and kept it pretty simple because it took me so long to plan it that I was at this point just trying to get it done. I think my favorite aspect ended up being the on the air sign, because that's such a quintessential radio thing, and I thought it was a nice little touch. speaking of making decisions on the fly, I didn't plan to have these vines on the wallpaper. I just kind of thought of it and just did it. I didn't sketch it out or anything. And I thought it was like a pretty subtle way to add interest to the piece because it was so simple, and I thought it ended up looking pretty cute. So I guess I will have to keep trusting the process and taking little creative risks, even if they are little. In the end, this already is not my favorite of the pieces I've done, but I thought it turned out pretty cute, and I learned some things in the process. So that'll be all for this video. I realized if I wait a whole week to upload, then the video would just be way too long. So I'll just probably do a few at a time and upload when I can. Try to keep as regular a schedule as possible, but we'll just play it by ear. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you're doing Inktober. How's it going for you? What are the ups and downs? And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys with another video really soon. Bye!